Okja is, without question, the weirdest movie I've seen all year, and that isn't limited to just new releases. I say this because it's not really advertised as such, nor does this even seem to be the film's intent, and the overall strangeness is far more surprising as a result. The odd feeling I get watching it is also a completely different one than when viewing a typical weird movie, because it's not derived from any unsettling or degenerate tones or content, but rather by the uncomfortable juxtaposition of the many styles it cycles through over the course of the running time. When the soundtrack isn't some atrocious acoustic solo instructing the audience to feel compassionate or tender, it feels like it belongs in a Pixar short, and I actually quite like the sound, but it doesn't mesh with any of the other 80 styles of the movie. We've got Jake Gyllenhaal as an insufferable discount Jim Carrey, and Tilda Swinton playing Tilda Swinton, except this time as a generic one-dimensional greedy corporate head, and with none of the conviction seen in plenty of her other better roles. The main child actor of An Seo-hyun playing Mija actually probably does the best job here, mainly because she seems to care, but that's not exactly high praise. Her character is also remarkably down to earth compared to every other, and this is just another instance of tonal inconsistency. These characters don't bounce off of each other well because they feel like they're from different universes entirely, and there's a complete lack of self-awareness to this. At least Paul Dano is tolerable. Many scenes feel like a pale imitation of a Coen Brothers comedy, but unlike their films, none of these characters are at all interesting or even really entertaining. Others almost seem to be a deconstruction of family films, the likes of Pete's Dragon or Waterhorse, but no comment is really being made on those. They just kind of go through the same motions for a little while and then stop. Not because of some clever twist on the formula, but because they can't stick to a story template for more than 15 minutes. The whole thing's just a big mess. I've seen it been described as a scathing satire of corporate evil. But if this is what you consider scathing, insulting caricatures and the few actual facts presented being common knowledge in our world, then I'd say we have different definitions of the word. Honestly, my favorite portion of the experience is the first act, just Okja and Mija, frolicking in the forest, having a jolly old time. This is great. Maybe it's not the most interesting thing in the world, but it's certainly a lot more subtle than any other portion, and at least they're able to stick to a tone for more than 30 seconds. After that, there's scenes mirroring those from urban crime dramas, hyper-quirky indie comedies, and even Parker and Stone-esque exaggeration. Nothing is off the table. It's also disjointed and off-putting. There's even just the little things, like there's a scene where Paul Dano is speaking to An Seo-hyun and they need to use another character as a translator, but halfway through the scene, they stop showing him translating the conversation and the two just kind of magically become bilingual. There's no implication that they just stopped showing this other guy translate. It just seems like these two other characters are conversing directly amongst themselves. And then there's this moment later where Polyboy is just holding up cards that are clearly only in two languages for the audience. Why not just have subtitles when the cards are on screen? The film very heavily features two languages anyway, and almost everyone is going to be watching it with some form of subtitles on, no matter what country they're from. There's really no reason for Paul to even be holding up cards in the first place, other than, I assume, for the film to be quirky, although I can't really tell if that was even the intention here. Everything is just so indecipherable. Now, with all that, it may sound like this is the absolute worst movie ever, but know this, it's actually quite captivating through all of its messiness. And there are a few genuinely funny and clever moments, although the two scenes that attempt to turn Okja defecating into a source of comedy are not among them. Everything technical is also quite impressive. It's well shot, and the creature effects are honestly fantastic. Maybe they'll look dated a decade from now, but the movie benefits in the same way that The Host did, by excellent use of lighting. This truth is applicable throughout the whole production, not just to the titular Super Pig. I do not recommend Okja if you're looking for a legitimately good film staying experience. Heh, because it's on a streaming service. So instead of film going, it's film staying. It takes a while to become truly incoherent, but once it does, I think you'll be in for something that's, if nothing else, memorable, and I'm giving this one a 3 out of 10.